Welcome back to another episode of Valuable Coins, where we dive deep into the world of numismatics, uncovering the most valuable and unique coins in the market today. If you're a coin enthusiast, collector, or simply interested in the incredible value of rare coins, you're in the right place. In today's video, we will explore two of the most fascinating and expensive United States coins currently circulating the auction market. The 1995 Washington Quarter, with large date D mint mark, and a distinct red color shade. You may be wondering, what makes this coin so special, and how much could it be worth in today's auction market? Stick around as we dive deep into its history, characteristics, and current value. Let's get started. First, let's take a moment to understand the Washington Quarter itself. Introduced in 1932, the Washington Quarter has been one of the most iconic U.S. coins in history. Originally created to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, it has gone through various design updates, but the core features have remained constant. The portrait of Washington on the obverse and various designs on the reverse. While many of us are familiar with the regular issues of the Washington Quarter, such as the ones from the 1960s and 1970s, certain years stand out to collectors, like the 1995 coin we're talking about today. This coin is part of the regular circulating series, but it's made even more fascinating by a couple of key details that make it unique. Now, let's focus on the 1995 Washington Quarter. As we mentioned earlier, this coin is a part of the regular mint series, but it has a few distinguishing features. One of the first things you'll notice is the large date feature. The large date refers to the size of the numerals in the year 1995. They were slightly bigger than the standard date seen on other years of the Washington Quarter. This was a production change that occurred in 1995 and was noticeable across several U.S. coin types, including the Lincoln cent and the Kennedy half dollar. For many collectors, this difference makes the 1995 Washington Quarter with the large date particularly intriguing. Next, we need to talk about the mint mark. The 1995 Washington Quarter with the D mint mark was produced at the Denver Mint. The D mint mark signifies that this coin was minted in Denver, as opposed to coins produced in Philadelphia or San Francisco. Mint marks are important in the world of coin collecting because they provide insight into where the coin was made, which can sometimes affect its rarity and value. The 1995 quarter with D mint mark is not particularly rare compared to other Washington quarters, but it's still an important piece for those looking to complete a set, or for collectors who focus on specific mint varieties. Now, this is where things get really interesting. While the 1995 Washington Quarter was originally minted with a typical silver-clad composition, some of these coins have taken on a distinct red color over time. You might be asking, what causes this? The red shade you see on some 1995 Washington Quarters is not part of the coin's original design. Instead, it's usually a result of oxidation or environmental factors over the years. This occurs when the copper in the coin's composition reacts with elements like air and moisture. The result is a reddish tint that can make the coin stand out from the rest of the collection. Good condition is one of the lower grades in the numismatic world. It indicates that the coin has seen some circulation, which is expected for coins from the 1990s. While this condition might not command top dollar, it can still hold value, especially if the coin has some unusual characteristics, like the red coloration. So, what's this coin worth today? Well, when it comes to the 1995 Washington Quarter with the large date, D mint mark, and red color shade in good condition, it's important to keep in mind that the value can vary based on the market, the coin's specific appearance, and its appeal to collectors. Typically, a 1995 Washington Quarter in good condition without any color alterations might fetch around $1,000 in today's market. However, when we talk about the coin with the red color shade, it can increase the value. For a red-hued 1995 Washington Quarter in good condition, the price can range anywhere from $1,300 at auction. While this may not be an extraordinary amount compared to some rarer coins, it's important to remember that the unique color change can make this coin more interesting to collectors who are looking for something out of the ordinary. The color and the mint mark make it a desirable piece for collectors who want to add a distinctive quarter to their collection. Next up, the 1991 Washington Quarter with a large date and a P mint mark in dirty condition. But why would such a coin still be valuable? Stick around to find out. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1991 Washington Quarter, let's take a brief look at the Washington Quarter series as a whole. Introduced in 1932, the Washington Quarter was designed to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington, on his 200th birthday. Over the decades, the Washington Quarter has gone through various design updates and special editions, but the core features have remained the same. Washington's portrait on the obverse and a variety of reverse designs. The 1991 Washington Quarter is part of the standard circulating coinage for that year, but like all coins, it has characteristics that can make it special for collectors. For today's video, we're focusing on a particular version that features a large date and was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P mint mark. Now let's zero in on the 1991 Washington Quarter. In this year, a change was made in the size of the date, which is why we refer to it as the large date variety. The difference may seem small, but the change in the size of the numbers makes it noticeable to collectors. If you compare it to other years, you'll see the and the in the date are larger and more prominent. The P mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike coins minted in Denver, which carry a D mint mark, the P mint mark is significant because it's relatively rare on quarters. From 1979 to 1988, quarters did not have mint marks, but after 1988, quarters from the Philadelphia Mint again started showing the P mint mark. While some collectors prefer coins in near-perfect mint condition, others are more interested in unique coins like this one coins that have character, even if they are a bit worn. In the case of this 1991 Washington Quarter, while the dirt might not look great, it tells the story of the coin's journey through circulation. Now, you might be wondering, if this coin is in dirty condition, why is it still valuable? Great question. Well, the value of a coin is influenced by several factors, not just its physical appearance. For example, rarity, demand among collectors, and the historical significance of the coin are all huge factors in determining its worth. In the case of the 1991 Washington Quarter, while it might not fetch the same high price as an uncirculated or well-preserved coin, it still holds some value due to its unique characteristics. For collectors who focus on specific mint years or varieties, even a dirty coin like this one could be an attractive piece to add to their collection. At auction, a 1991 Washington Quarter in good condition, but with a lot of dirt or tarnishing, might sell for anywhere between $600. It's not a huge amount, but it's still a far cry from just pocket change. Now, if you happen to find one of these coins in uncirculated condition or with any unique features like errors, the value could be much higher. Next up, the 1967 Washington Quarter Dollar without mint mark, in good condition. So, how much is it worth in today's auction market? Let's find out. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1967 Washington Quarter, let's take a quick step back and talk about the Washington Quarter series. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin's obverse features Washington's portrait, while the reverse traditionally showcases an eagle. Over the years, the reverse design has changed multiple times, but the obverse has remained relatively consistent. Now, the 1967 Washington Quarter is part of the regular series minted during that time. By the 1960s, the Washington Quarter had been in circulation for over 30 years, with no major design changes. But there's something particularly interesting about the 1967 version that makes it a sought-after coin among collectors today. So, what's the big deal with the 1967 Washington Quarter? Well, it's not necessarily a rare coin, but it's still quite significant for a few reasons. First, we should mention that the 1967 Washington Quarter is part of the regular series minted during that year. In 1967, the United States Mint was still producing these quarters using 90% silver, so it falls into the category of silver quarters. This makes it much more valuable than quarters from later years, which switched to a copper-nickel composition. Another key factor is the lack of a mint mark on the 1967 Washington Quarter. Quarters from this year were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and typically, quarters from the Philadelphia Mint after 1979 are marked with a P mint mark. However, quarters minted before this time often don't have a mint mark, so finding a 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark is actually quite common. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. In the world of coin collecting, the condition of a coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin tends to be. This particular 1967 Washington quarter is in good condition. In this grade, the coin will show significant wear and tear. The details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers will be softened, and some of the finer details may be worn away. However, the coin is still recognizable and it's far from being classified as a scrap coin. Coins in good condition can still carry a lot of value, especially when they are silver quarters like this one. While it may not be as valuable as a coin in higher grades like fine or uncirculated, it's still a coin with a level of collector interest because of its silver content and the historical significance. As of today, a 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark in good condition can be worth anywhere from $20,000. Now, this may seem low compared to other rare coins, but keep in mind that this coin is valued primarily for its silver content, which is around 0.1808 troy ounces of pure silver. The price of silver in today's market greatly impacts the coin's value. If the coin were in a higher grade, say fine or very fine, it could fetch a higher price, potentially ranging from $25,000. And of course, if the coin were in mint state or near perfect condition, the price could easily jump to $50 or more, depending on the level of demand and market trends at the time. First, collectors who focus on silver coins are particularly drawn to quarters like the 1967 because of the silver content. As silver prices fluctuate, silver coins from the 1960s and earlier become increasingly attractive to collectors as both historical artifacts and valuable precious metals. Additionally, the 1967 Washington quarter appeals to collectors who specialize in Washington quarters or who are interested in completing sets of coins from specific years. Even though this coin may not be rare in terms of mintage, it's still an essential part of any collection of 1960s U.S. quarters. Next up, the 1979 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, in damaged condition, and its surprising value in today's auction market. You might be wondering, how could a damaged coin still hold significant value? Well, stay tuned, because we're diving into all the details. Before we talk about the 1979 Washington quarter in particular, let's first take a step back and talk about the Washington quarter series in general. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It's been in continuous production ever since, making it one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. Designed by John Flanagan, the Washington quarter has remained relatively consistent in its appearance over the decades. The coin features George Washington's portrait on the obverse and traditionally an eagle on the reverse. However, as we move through the years, different mint marks and special features give each year its own uniqueness. Now, let's zero in on the 1979 Washington quarter. This coin was produced in a period of transition for U.S. coinage. By 1979, the United States had fully shifted to using clad coins for quarters, meaning the Washington quarter from this year was made of a copper-nickel composition rather than silver. This is important to note because silver quarters like those from the pre-1965 era carry a higher intrinsic value due to their silver content. But what makes the 1979 quarter interesting isn't necessarily its composition or its design, but rather the condition of the coin and its market demand. The 1979 Washington quarter features a D mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. Most coins minted in 1979 were produced in large numbers, meaning the coin itself is not rare in terms of mintage. Let's now address the elephant in the room, the damage. Coins can experience all sorts of damage over time, whether it's from mishandling, corrosion, or being struck by other objects. Coins in damaged condition are typically valued much lower than their undamaged counterparts, but there are some cases where a damaged coin can still have a surprising value. Coins that are in damaged condition are graded accordingly, with lower grades like good or fair. The value of these coins tends to decrease significantly compared to those in uncirculated or mint state condition. However, the 1979 Washington quarter with D mint mark in damaged condition has a few factors that could influence its price, including its rarity, collector demand, and the specific type of damage it has. In general, a 1979 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in damaged condition could sell for anywhere between $30,000, depending on the severity and type of damage. Most of the time, this coin's value is driven by the copper-nickel content, and collectors are primarily looking at its base metal worth. The coin is still valued as a standard quarter, even though it's damaged. However, if the damage is particularly unusual or rare, such as a unique error or some form of historical significance, the value could rise slightly. For example, if there's damage from a rare minting process, or if the coin shows unusual signs of wear, collectors might be willing to pay a little extra for it. You might be wondering, why would anyone want to buy a damaged coin? And that's a great question. Well, there are a few reasons why damaged coins like the 1979 Washington quarter still catch the attention of collectors. First, there are collectors who focus on coins in various conditions, including those with damage. These collectors are often looking to complete a set of coins from a specific year or mint, regardless of condition. They might not mind a few scratches or dents if it means adding an important coin to their collection. Second, there are also collectors who appreciate the history behind a damaged coin. For example, a coin that was damaged in a unique way might tell a story about its time in circulation, and for some collectors, that adds to the coin's charm and historical significance. Next up, the 1995 Washington quarter with the P mint mark in fine condition. We'll explore its value in today's auction market, what makes this particular coin stand out, and why it's worth paying attention to. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of the 1995 Washington quarter. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1995 Washington quarter, let's take a quick look at the Washington quarter series as a whole. This series has been one of the most iconic and longest-running coin programs in U.S. history. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, and ever since, it has been part of the U.S. coinage landscape. The coin features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, and traditionally features an eagle on the reverse. Although the reverse design has changed over the years, the Washington quarter remains an essential piece of U.S. coinage, with millions of coins minted over the decades. Now, let's zoom in on the 1995 Washington quarter. Unlike its pre-1965 predecessors, the 1995 Washington quarter is a clad coin, which means it's made of a copper-nickel alloy rather than silver. This is an important point, as the silver quarters of earlier years, especially those made before 1965, hold much higher intrinsic value due to their silver content. Despite this, the 1995 Washington quarter is still significant in the world of collectors. The mint mark on the 1995 quarter is located on the obverse side, just beneath George Washington's neck. For this particular coin, we're talking about the P mint mark, meaning it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Let's take a moment to discuss what we mean by fine condition. In the world of numismatics, the condition of a coin is crucial to determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale, with the most common grades being good fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated. A coin in fine condition like our 1995 Washington quarter shows noticeable wear, but the details are still visible. The design elements, like Washington's portrait, will be somewhat worn, but not to the point of being indistinguishable. Fine condition coins still have a decent amount of detail and are generally more valuable than coins with heavy wear or damage. In general, the 1995 Washington quarter in fine condition is not considered extremely rare, especially since more than 1 billion quarters were minted that year. But this coin still holds value beyond its face value due to its historical significance and demand among collectors. On average, a 1995 Washington quarter in fine condition can be worth between $600 in today's auction market. The value of this coin is mainly driven by factors like its age, the P mint mark, and its fine condition. If you're lucky enough to find a well-preserved example, the price could be slightly higher, especially if the coin is particularly well struck or has minimal wear. However, since it's not a rare year and is composed of copper nickel, it doesn't carry the same intrinsic value as older, silver Washington quarters. So what can make a 1995 Washington quarter more valuable than the average $800 range? There are a few factors that can push its value higher in the market. First, if the coin has any unique errors like a double strike or a misaligned die, it could increase the value substantially. These types of error coins often attract the attention of serious collectors who are willing to pay a premium for them. Lastly, demand from collectors plays a huge role in determining value. As time passes, some coins become more desirable due to their connection to certain historical periods or minting events. While the 1995 Washington quarter may not be one of the most sought-after coins, it could still appreciate in value over time. eBay is a great starting point if you're looking to purchase one of these quarters. You can find listings for individual coins or entire collections. It's also an excellent platform for checking auction prices to see what similar coins are selling for. Local coin shops and dealers are another great option if you want to buy or sell a 1995 Washington quarter. You can visit in person to inspect the condition of the coin, or you can contact them online for a valuation if you want to sell your coin.